Welcome back to Limitless Inner Wisdom with Brittany Wiley. Today I want to talk about something that affects all of us at one point or another, the mental and emotional weight that comes not just from what is happening in our lives, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what is happening. We're going to look at where those stories come from, what's underneath them, and how shifting to a oneness mindset gives you the mental space to receive what you need in the moment. Suffering is real, but a lot of what keeps us stuck inside the suffering, what makes it feel endless or like it defines us, is the story layered on top of it. Those stories didn't start with us. They came from our conditioning, our culture, the beliefs we absorbed growing up. Some of those beliefs may have had truth in them, but not all of them serve who we are becoming or where we're going. Over time, they get so familiar that they stop feeling like beliefs. They just feel like reality. The mind is very good at holding on to them. It loops, it goes back over the past, jumps ahead to the future, and builds a case around whatever fear is the biggest and loudest at the moment. Neuroscience has language for this. There's a part of the brain called the default mode network that tends to keep us in that loop, evaluating ourselves, spinning narratives, anticipating what could go wrong. When we're inside that loop, we're not responding to what's actually happening. We're responding to a story about what's happening. After a while, fear starts to feel like fact. What makes it so exhausting is that so many of us have been running on that alert for so long that it starts to feel like the responsible thing to do. It shows up for parents who feel like they have to stay one step ahead of everything, for people navigating financial stress, who feel like the moment they relax, something will fall apart, for anyone in a demanding job, anyone dealing with health concerns, anyone who has ever felt like they are the only thing standing between their life and chaos. The details change, but the feeling is identical. Worry convinces us that it's keeping things together, but it's actually the thing that's wearing us out. Beneath all of that noise, there is a center. Our core self is naturally peaceful and stable. It's the part of us that observes and knows that in the highest reality, all is well. We never lose access to it. What happens when we get caught in the loop is that the frightened parts of us, the protective parts, the parts shaped by old conditioning take over and we lose touch with that calm center, but it was never actually gone. Psychology gives us language for this too. Internal family systems describes the core self as calm, curious, compassionate, and connected. Carl Jung pointed to something similar. Beneath the ego, which is the version of us shaped by experience and everything we've been through, there's a truer self, a center that can witness what we're going through without being consumed by it. The ego isn't something to get rid of. It's how we navigate life, but it's not the whole of who we are. This is your anchor point, the place everything else flows from, that center, that core self. I believe that is the place where you are most connected to God. Meister Eckhart, a Christian mystic who wrote centuries ago, described it as the ground of the soul, the innermost place that is inseparable from God. He said, God's ground is my ground, and my ground is God's ground. Not that you have to reach for God or earn your way to that connection. That connection is already there. This is the truth I come back to personally whenever a mental spiral starts. I am in God, and God is in me. That is my anchor. When I can really feel that, even for just a moment, it's as if the fear and worry never existed. The alertness in my body can soften, I can focus again, I can breathe, I can give myself permission to relax in a way that feels almost foreign when you've been running on high alert. Sometimes life can make you feel as if there's always something to be on watch for. But what I've come to understand is that worry is not the same thing as being responsible. I can be fully present and fully grounded without burning myself out mentally. That anchor is what makes that possible. The mind doesn't always accept it right away. Sometimes I go on the spiral anyway. The mind will show you a mountain of evidence for why you should worry, panic, feel like there's no other option, and no other way to see things. It'll convince you that worry is practical and realistic, but a mental spiral is like a plane with no runway. You're just circling, burning fuel, with nowhere to land. I am in God, and God is in me gives you that runway. It gives the fear and the worry somewhere to land. It doesn't erase the situation, but it changes the ground you're standing on when you face it. This is where the shift happens. The mind's case about why you should be worried and overwhelmed starts to lose its weightiness. When the story finally runs its course, when it has nowhere left to go and nothing left to latch onto, you find yourself able to notice beauty again, to feel the gratitude and peace that was buried under all of that fear. Just being, not trying, not worrying, not feeling any lack or disconnection whatsoever. Because we are in God, everything we need is already built into the experience we're having. Solutions, ideas, insights, provision, all of it accessible from that connected place. This is not to minimize what people are actually going through. Some of what we face is enormous. The obstacles are real and they are hard. But God is bigger than anything we face and greater than we could possibly imagine. Knowing that we are within God and God within us changes how we see ourselves and our situations. You know those moments in a movie where a kid is being bullied and then the camera pulls back and there's an older sibling standing right behind them? That bully has to walk away because they realize they were never just up against that one kid. There was somebody much bigger in their corner the whole time. That's what it feels like to really know that you are in God and God in you. You are never facing anything alone, and the stories of your mind, even the opinions of others, can no longer control you. Here's what that picture actually looks like day to day. Being in God means you are always taken care of, not sometimes or only when things are going well, always. It means there is nothing that happens to you that won't be answered in some way. That answer may not come the way you expected or on the timeline you wanted. Sometimes there's trial and error involved. That is the human experience, a journey of discovery. A journey where little miracles and synchronicities happen along the way. Sometimes, the thing that isn't resolving right away is actually the catalyst pushing you to seek within yourself and grow in ways you wouldn't have otherwise. Detours and delays are still a part of your path. What I've come to understand is that conscious growth, that expanding awareness of who you really are, that is the real goal. When you're living from that connected place, you start to see opportunity where you once saw lack. You become more self-aware, so you have more compassion for yourself and for others. You stop taking things as personally because you start to understand that everyone around you is also functioning from their own stories and their own conditioning. You have more patience. You stop seeing situations as final. Gratitude starts to come more naturally, not because everything is perfect, but because now you are safe enough to notice what's been working for you. Psalm 91 says, "He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." That secret place is not somewhere you travel to. It's your center, the ground of your soul. An anchor like "I am in God and God is in me" reminds you that you have always been there. Your focus on the story the mind is telling you can make you feel disconnected, but you never actually were. Julian of Norwich understood this in a way that I find really comforting. She was a 14th century mystic who came to her deepest knowing of God not in peaceful times, but in the middle of the Black Death, war, and famine. What she held on to through all of it was a simple but profound awareness that we are completely held within God and nothing about us is ever truly lost. When the spiral starts and the stories begin building their case, come back to the anchor, "I am in God and God is in me." Say it even if the mind pushes back. When the story loses its ground and the ego has to come to the end of its logic, your position in God still holds. If this particular phrase doesn't resonate with you right away, that's okay. Take it as a starting point to allow God, through your inner wisdom, to give you what is specific to you. What matters is that you have something to come back to when negative thoughts crowd your mind. Something that reminds your body that it's safe, you're held, and everything is going to be all right. Before I close, I want to share how this perspective has worked for me. It took me a very long time to write for this video. For a while, I had a whole story running about that. I'm taking too long. I'm going to lose momentum. Every time I felt like my writing was done, I would read it again and know there was more perspective I needed to gain. I didn't realize how much I create stories until I started paying attention to it. I would have a realization about something and then immediately go into a whole narrative about it, allowing it to become a fixed reality in my mind, a belief that would become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But once I allowed the negative thoughts to run their course, the next most natural response was, okay, and then what? Am I going to give up doing something I find meaningful? Something that I hope will help others? Absolutely not. I reached for my anchor and reminded myself of my position as a being within the one who created and sustains all things. That didn't change because I had a moment of doubt or struggle, and that knowledge helped me to finish what I started. I use this process for everything now, every time I need the reminder, especially when the struggle is much larger than that one. Life is no longer about being perfect. For me, it's all about learning, growing, and walking the path I was given in lockstep with God. This channel has always been a lived experience for me, more than anything else. What I share here comes from my own journey through study, going within, and living it out. I offer it as an invitation into that same space of exploration where you can receive guidance that is specific to you. Ultimately, what I want most is for you to trust your own God-given inner wisdom. That is what limitless inner wisdom is really about. My goal here is to offer a way for you to return to your center whenever you're feeling stressed and just plain exhausted, mentally and emotionally. This is a way for you to slow down when any kind of spiraling starts and give you space to question the story the mind is telling. If this resonated with you, I would love for you to like and share this video. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always know when something new is posted. Let me know in the comments what this brings up for you, because I'd love to keep this conversation going. As always, I'm sending so much love your way. Until next time, bye for now.